Gentlemen, it is a late night here on the West Coast. It's James here for Live Chat with James, coming from the studios at ProPix TV in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. Tonight we're going to talk about comedy. We're going to talk about the medicinal values of comedy, as well as many other aspects of it. And of course, for those amateur stand-up comedians or those thinking to get into it, we'll talk about the funny business of comedy as well, as it is a business. Let's not have any doubt about that. It is a multi-billion-dollar industry worldwide, and there is a reason for that. Because people want comedy. People want to laugh. They want to take that time out of their day to let their mind go elsewhere. But we're going to take a look at the science of that as well, and why it is that it has an impact on society, why it is so important to everyday life, and of course, we will talk about some of the greats. As you see behind me during this show, excuse me, sorry about that, folks. I'll have some clips just running of random different stand-up comedians, and this is a clip that's on YouTube. So if you see a comedian that you're interested in or whatnot, by all means check it out. I will show the link at the end of the show, and also in the details. So with that said, let's talk about the iguana. Now, there's an iguana. He's walking through the forest one day. He smells something very odd, and he looks up in the tree, and there is a bear up in the tree, and that is what the iguana is smelling, because the bear is smoking a joint. The iguana says, "Hey bear, what the hell are you doing?" The bear looks down at the iguana and he says, "Why, iguana, I'm smoking a joint, man. Come on up and join me." So of course the iguana climbs the tree, sits there and smokes a joint with the bear. The iguana looks over at the bear and says, "Bear man, I'm getting really bad cotton mouth. I gotta go down to the river and get myself a drink." So the iguana goes down the tree and he gets over to the river, and as he's leaning over to take a drink, the iguana falls into the river. An alligator is swimming by and he gets the iguana on his snout and just throws him back on shore and says, "Iguana, what the hell are you doing? What's going on?" So he goes through the story that he was walking through the forest. He saw a bear smoking a joint in a tree. He went up, smoked a joint, got cottonmouth, went to the river, got a drink, fell in, and that's where they met. Well, the alligator was stuck on the fact that there was a bear up in a tree smoking a joint and said, "I gotta see this for myself." And the bear wanders over to where the tree is, looks up and says, "Hey bear, what's going on?" And the bear looks down and goes, "Holy fuck, iguana, how much water did you drink, man?" You see, now it's all about the timing in jokes. It's about the audience. It's about the reaction, but also how the comedian on stage reacts to the action and the reaction by the audience. So it's about playing both sides. You are there as an entertainer, as a comedian, and as an audience member, you're there to take a break from reality, take a break from life. And also, there are ways in which comedians can bring light and initiate conversation about difficult issues in a lighthearted way. A lot of times people tiptoe around sensitive issues that are impacting communities or different areas, and instead of talking about it, they avoid it. And comedy sometimes can be that bridge to bring conversation to sensitive topics. And that's one of the many benefits of stand-up comedy. Now, with that said, there are many other ways in which comedy can have a huge impact on health and on your daily lives. So I thought tonight that we would take a bit more of a look at stand-up comedy and the benefits of it from a scientific approach, but also just to look at comedy in itself, because it's something that people really don't talk about. People love a laugh, they love laughter, and they enjoy the experience. But did you know that there also has a medical benefit when it comes to bringing out different areas? So the world today often feels like a tightrope walk over a canyon of anxieties, from the constant barrage of news to the headlines of the daily grind. It's easy to feel overwhelmed. But amidst this chaos, there is powerful, often underestimated force that helps keep our balance. And that can be just different things that you don't think about, but now you can. there's been a well-timed joke or a silly meme or a stand-up special that, has been exactly what you needed to get through a tough day. Comedy isn't just about entertainment. It plays a truly pivotal role in our mental health and our ability to confront difficult issues and connections with others. So that is a part of why I thought it was important to talk about it, to bring a bit of light. I have performed on some of the most famous stages around the world in terms of stand-up comedy. I've been doing it since I was in my teens. I have loved it. My actual first instance of doing comedy or telling jokes in front of a live crowd that weren't friends and family was actually at the Alan Thicke Show. And Alan Thicke had a talk show that he filmed and produced in Burnaby, British Columbia called The Alan Thicke Show. How original. He also had another show that he taped there for a shorter period of time known as Thicke of the Night. But let's go back to The Alan Thicke Show. As a young teenager, I used to go and watch the show as a part of the audience, the live studio audience. We got to not only meet the different stars and get autographs and all that, which was pretty cool as a teenager. I was probably about 12 or 13. So again, that was pretty cool as a young youth to meet these celebrities and the heroes, the people that you idolize. But at the same time, Alan Thicke used to come out and do a warm-up. He didn't have somebody do it for him. He came out and told jokes and talked to the audience and interacted and really was very personable. He was very friendly, very warm, very genuine. But he also gave opportunities to people in the audience to tell jokes as well. And me being a youngster at the time, he had asked if anybody wanted to tell some jokes, and I said certainly, and decided to give it a try. So I got the microphone, and I don't remember what the jokes were at this time. I mean, they were probably pretty silly given my age at the time, but when I was able to make the audience laugh and to have fun with them in that regard, and to have that presence and such, I just fell in love with it. I really enjoyed the performing. I enjoyed the live interaction with the audience. And I mean, it was only a few jokes, but to me, it was just the experience of a lifetime. And I continued down that road doing stand-up comedy for many years. And I still do it to this day. And I love it. It is a great venue to go out and have fun. It is an adrenaline rush every time to get up on that stage, no matter how many times I've done it. You still feel the nerves before the show. And that is a good thing because you feed off that energy, off that anxiety, that excitement, that, the ability to get the crowd rolling along. And a bit later in the show, I'll talk to you about one of the worst shows I ever did in Los Angeles. And it turned out to be one of the best shows at the same time. So I'll tell you a bit about that later in the show. And I hope that you get a kick out of it as much as I enjoy telling the story as it happened. But let's take a look at, the laughter prescription. And that is comedy and mental well-being. It turns out that laughter isn't just a pleasant experience. It actually is a potent medicine for our minds and our bodies. Research from institutions like the Mayo Clinic and the Department of Veterans Affairs consistently show that a good laugh triggers a cascade of positive physiological changes. In the short term, laughter stimulates various organs in the body. It enhances our intake of oxygen-rich air, and laughter stimulates various organs in the body. And let me just reiterate that that's definitely more true today than it was back in the 70s and 80s in the comedy clubs when everybody used to smoke in there. It definitely wasn't fresh oxygen in that air, but it was all just a great time regardless. Now, when you get that oxygen-rich air that comes in with laughter, that in turn invigorates the heart, the lungs, and the muscles. And this process also leads to the release of endorphins in the brain. Those natural chemicals that induce feelings of pleasure and relaxation. Furthermore, a hearty laugh can activate and cool down our body's stress response, leading to a decrease in the heart rate and blood pressure, ultimately leaving us with a sense of calm and well-being. It also helps to soothe physical tension by stimulating circulation amid different muscle groups. And that, of course, aids in healing, but also in different relaxation. It relieves some of the physical symptoms of stress, and the immediate physical changes that occur when we laugh offer a reaction that's accessible in a natural way to manage the stress of daily life and improve our overall mood. So that's kind of what I touched on at the top of the show. And that is why it is such a powerful, powerful thing. That is why that as far back in history as you go, there's been comedy, and whether that was through court jesters and, the king's jesters and whatnot, there's a lot to be said for comedy and its impact on the physical and mental well-being of people. But the benefits of laughter extend far beyond these immediate effects. Over the long term, regular engagement with humor and laughter can contribute to a stronger immune system, believe it or not. Negative thoughts can manifest as chemical reactions in the body that increase stress and decrease immunity. I bet you didn't know that. Conversely, positive thoughts, often triggered by humor, can release neuropeptides that help fight stress and potentially more serious illness. Laughter may also act as a natural pain reliever by causing the body to produce its own painkillers. Moreover, it can increase our sense of personal satisfaction by making it easier to cope with difficult situations, fostering connections with others. For those struggling with mood disorders, laughter has been shown to loosen stress, depression, and anxiety, leading to overall happiness, happier disposition, and improved self-esteem. So again, a lot of different scientific and medical impacts of comedy that helps the human body, the human soul, and the human mind. Consistent exposure to humor and the resulting laughter can therefore play a significant role in prompting better physical and mental health by strengthening the body's natural defenses and enhancing our emotional resilience. Now, let me tell you, my ex-wife should have been so happy about the laughter, but instead, women love a funny guy until you get married. Then they just get pissed off because you never take anything seriously and everything becomes a joke. So don't let that fool you. There are times where you need to be serious. But the therapeutic potential of comedy and humor and laughter is increasingly being recognized in various healthcare settings. Studies have explored the impact of laughter on specific health conditions, revealing promising results. For instance, research indicates an adverse relationship between the tendency to laugh and the risk of an inverse, not adverse, relationship between the tendency to laugh and the risk of coronary heart disease, suggesting that those who laugh, when they laugh more, they're lowering their risk of heart attack. And that is a great thing because it is a natural way to reduce your risk of heart attack without actually taking medications and such. So I'm not saying that you replace your heart medications and such. By all means, don't do that. But what I am saying is that it does definitely help. Laughter therapy has also been found to effectively delay cardiovascular complications in individuals with type 2 diabetes. Furthermore, watching comedy has been shown to decrease the overall rise in glucose levels after eating. And the realm of mental health, laughter therapy has improved self-esteem and mood in cancer patients, and humor therapy has led to improvements in cognitive functions like learning ability and memory in older adults. So it's amazing how much the science of comedy actually is overlooked as well. Even in conditions like Parkinson's disease and schizophrenia, comedy, improv training, and humor skill training have shown subjective improvements in symptoms and rehabilitative outcomes. I'm all backwards. These findings underscore that humor is not merely a source of amusement, but possesses tangible therapeutic qualities that can complement conventional medical treatments. Again, these are amazing, benefits to comedy over and above just having a laugh. Now, for those who might not consider themselves naturally humorous, the good news is that developing a sense of humor is a skill that can be cultivated. Some people are naturally funny. Some people are naturally gifted when it comes to entertaining others and making others laugh. But you can actually cultivate the skill and to bring that forward, even if you are a bit more introverted or less ability to deliver jokes. That can be learned and cultivated. So don't give up just because you don't think you're funny. You just have to keep learning and working at it like anything else. Now, simple steps like surrounding yourself with funny items such as photos, cartoons, greeting cards can make regular opportunities for a chuckle. Keeping a collection of funny movies, TV shows, books, or even podcasts readily available can offer added humor boost whenever needed. So if you need that boost or you're looking for a pickup, then you can use comedy in that regard. Even practicing laughter, even though it's forced or it feels forced initially, can have positive effects on the body. And we've seen videos in different shows where there is laughter therapy sessions, and they look just ridiculous. But at the same time, they actually serve a purpose, and they are healthy. They are good for you. So don't be shy if you end up in a weird setting where people are trying to force you to laugh as a part of a stress relief or other reasons. By all means, take part in it and then go with it, enjoy it, have fun. It is very healthy for you. Now, as I said, sharing laughs with friends and families and making an effort to find humor in everyday situations are also very, very crucial for fostering a comic approach to things, and it doesn't have to be at the expense of others. As some forms of humor can be inappropriate and hurtful. So again, you've got to use some common sense as well as using your ability to make people laugh. And that is where some comedians really fall off the rails, in the fact that they think that although they may get laughs out of poking fun at people in a very negative or derogatory way, at the end of the day, a lot of times that laughter is out of discomfort. And some people do laugh when they are uncomfortable. That's how the body protects them, or that's like a defense mechanism. So just because people are laughing when you are poking fun or ridiculing people, just keep in mind that it's not necessarily funny. It could be a defensive mechanism. And so to really take flight and take ownership of your material, if you are a comedian, you need to understand the difference between telling a joke and making fun of people or being derogatory towards people. And that's, also for the audience to understand, is that you need to understand as an audience member that, not everything has to be offensive. And that's one of the problems that stand-up comedians in our day and age have come about, is that somebody somewhere has always found a way to be offended. And that's more recent over the last decade than it has been historically in comedy. But again, it's all about, the comedian making sure that they understand their audience, understanding what is acceptable, what's not, and trying to fit their comedy within that realm and trying to adapt to it. At the same time, I once released a comedy CD, and it said right on the CD, if you have problems and complaints about the content of this CD, don't bother writing me a letter, because if I cared what you thought, I would have bought your CD. And that's sometimes where you have to go with it. Sometimes you just have to shrug it off. As a comedian, somebody's going to be offended, even though it's the most mundane joke, the most vanilla joke, and somebody's going to be offended just for the fact that they want to be offended. They want to have something to complain about. They want to have something to bitch about, and they want to be able to feel like they've got a reason to live in the world besides just being miserable. So their joy is going to be taken by complaining about anything. So again, it's all about evaluating that process, but also evaluating the situation and evaluating yourself honestly, and that comes a part of it as well. Keeping in mind that, individuals can take a proactive role in enhancing their mental and emotional well-being through comedy. So let's take a quick look at the benefit categories of comedy. Now, the physiological, it stimulates organs, increases oxygen intake, and that, of course, is a good thing. Again, physiological, it activates and relieves a stress response. So again, helps to relax, helps to bring a bit of a rest for your body and mind. In terms of the physiological, it also soothes tensions and relaxes muscles. Very important, especially in people who may have, very tense muscles, very much stressed, and it can help to release some of that tension there. The physiological also that it lowers the stress hormones, cortisol and epinephrine, and I probably said that wrong, but regardless, it's all good. It increases endorphins, dopamine, and serotonin. So again, so many benefits to comedy that you could take, a whole day to go through them all, but we're just covering a bit of it. Now, the physiological also includes the boost immune system, the neuropeptides, the antibodies, natural killer cells, and it's great. Physiological relieves pain and acts as a natural painkiller. It's not going to kill all pain, but it definitely can help with some. Again, the benefit is very, very high. The comedy can also improve the cardiac health, lowers blood pressure, improves mood, reduces anxiety and depression, improves self-esteem, enhances resilience and coping abilities, provides distraction from negative emotions, as well as strengthens relationships and promotes bonding, and helps diffuse conflict and manage tension. So again, those are just some of the benefits to comedy, and it is probably a lot of things that you didn't know. And even in researching this, I knew a lot of it because I've been doing comedy for a lot of years, we'll say. Well over, we'll say about 40 years. So, but it is a great way to beat stress and anxiety and have fun and just get out and meet new people. Now, when you are speaking truth to the power with punchlines, comedy, and tough issues, as I touched on at the top, that comedy's role extends beyond personal well-being. It serves as a powerful tool for engaging with complex and often uncomfortable societal issues. And there have been people who have brought this to the forefront. Most frequent or most influential off the top of my head would be Joan Rivers, and she brought up or she would make jokes about certain issues and got a lot of criticism, but she would just come out and say, look, I know that it's not the always the socially acceptable jokes that I make, but sometimes those are more important because it initiates a dialogue and gets a conversation going. And sometimes that is what comedy is about. When you look at it, satire in particular acts as a social mirror reflecting the absurdities and injustices of our world, especially in the realm of politics and social inequities. And a great example of this is Saturday Night Live. It has been on the air for over 50 years, and that is what they have made a whole, I would say generation, but it's many generations now. That's why they keep the viewers coming back, is because although the show and the content may change, the cast of characters may change, the goal is still the same, and that is to look at our current societal challenges, and mirror, reflect, and look at the absurdities and the injustices of our world through that lens. And again, sometimes people can take offense, sometimes presidents get offended, but at the end of the day, let's not forget that it's sometimes the best way to initiate conversation in a non-threatening way and to bring the news in a lighter sense. So again, prominent political comedians like John Oliver, Trevor Noah, Samantha Bee, they've all mastered the art of blending humor with sharp commentary, making serious political issues more accessible and digestible for a wider audience. And again, it is very important because people need to be able to understand what is going on in the world while also taking a chance to laugh and to kind of say, okay, yeah, maybe there is a brighter side, maybe there's a darker side, but at least take a different perspective on it, but bring it in a less threatening way as maybe the evening news would. Their styles vary from serious political issues and more accessible and digestible for the wider audience, as I said, But Oliver deep dives into the complex topics as opposed to Trevor Noah, who insightfully looks at the global perspective, and B fearlessly comes up with feminist takes. But they all share that ability to use wit and to highlight the often absurd nature of political events and hold those in power accountable. And that is something that we really need in this day and age, especially with the polarization of America and the world at the hands of the Donald Trump administration 2.0. Whether you like them or you don't, again, it's very important that we need these programs and these people in the positions of comedy to bring that to light. Now, by framing critical information within an entertaining context, these comedians can lower people's defenses and encourage, as I said, them to think more critically about the issues at hand, potentially inspiring engagement and even action towards social change. So it doesn't necessarily have to be directly about politicians. It can be about climate change. It can be about the environment. It can be about national issues. And that is where it can help to inspire and give people a bit of a moment of laughter, but also make them realize that, hey, maybe there is something I can do now that I'm not looking at it through such a dark lens. So again, it really brings that benefit to society and to the world. And that is where comedy is essential in today's day and age, but also in the future as it has in the past. Now, comedy also plays a significant role in addressing various forms of social inequality. And television shows like The Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, One Day at a Time, and Superstore cleverly weave in narratives around the LGBTQ plus representation, gender equality, immigration, economic disparities, often displaying the vulnerabilities of their characters to foster empathy. Comedians like Camus Bell and Amir Bauman use their platforms to tackle racial inequality with humor, often sharing personal experiences and challenges and prevailing stereotypes. So again, it really is such a wide-ranging way to have an impact in the world. By presenting these serious issues through a comedic lens, creators can make them more relatable and less threatening for audiences, potentially breaking down social barriers and encouraging a deeper understanding of different perspectives on social justice. And again, it reminds me of Saturday Night Live. And that is a show I started watching as a child, and I still love it. It's had its ups and downs, don't get me wrong, but no, it has been just something that's been there since my childhood to help me to find a laugh, and sometimes a much needed laugh. The approach can humanize the marginalized groups and shed light on systemic inequalities in a way that traditional news and documentaries might not always achieve. Now, when I'm up doing stand-up comedy, that is a totally different realm than when I am on Satellite TV doing the nightly talk show Perspectives, because that is a more news and current events and historical focused show. And that is not a comedy show. We do throw some jokes in there to bring a bit of lightheartedness to the stories when we can, or just to bring a bit of levity to the breaks in between different stories. But again, I approach them differently. When I am on set of different television shows, again, I am there as someone in the background or playing a minor role. My job is to just be there to set the mood and not be there to, be loud and obnoxious like I can be on stage in a good way. But in any event, that's, it's just about making sure that you position yourself in the timing of the comedy. Again, when you look at the pressing issues of environmental concerns, that's found its voice through the world of comedy. Severity of climate change and environmental degradation is undeniable. Comedians are using humor to engage with these topics in ways that can be both informative and less overwhelming. And again, in this day and age, a lot of people are having issues with the overwhelming amount of information and negativity that comes in through the nightly news. And let's not forget that there is so much media that's just bombarding everybody that there are negative stories coming in left, right, and center. And that makes it even more essential that people find that moment of levity, of comedy, of laughter to take some of that stress down. When you're looking at different eco-comedians like Josh Rackless and Jackie Eco, they use stand-up and video to poke fun at environmental issues and are often hypocritical approaches. And that is so true. To them, they look at it and they say we can be hypocritical. We are screaming about the environment while we're eating at McDonald's and, all of this waste that we are creating. And sorry, McDonald's, I don't mean to pick on you directly, but I'm just saying the fast food world or the immediate gratification that we seek as human beings, especially in today's age, a lot of times is directly tied to the environmental impacts because of the fact that we want things now and we don't want to wait for them. We need that immediacy, and that comes with a cost. And unfortunately, in a lot of ways, that cost is the environment. When we look at it, of course, again, there's an ongoing discussion about the effectiveness of using humor for such critical and urgent matter, but it can often offer a way to connect with audience who might otherwise feel alienated or despondent when faced with purely negative information. And again, it's just about trying to find that alternate way of interacting with people and getting information and discussion going. So, but by finding absurd in certain environmentally damaging behaviors or situations, comedians can subtly change and encourage audiences to reflect on their own impact and potentially inspire a sense of shared responsibility and a desire to change. So again, the impacts can be very overwhelming in a positive way, and that is very important for comedy in today's day and age as well. Now, breaking the ice with banter, comedy, and sensitive dialogue, something we've touched on already, but it is one of the unique strengths of comedy, and that is that it lies in its ability to broach sensitive or even taboo topics that might otherwise be too difficult or uncomfortable to discuss directly. Again, Joan Rivers reminds me of that because of how great she was at doing this. Sometimes people felt that she pushed the envelope a little too far, and that's fine. That's going to happen. But at the end of the day, they understood, or she took time to explain that that was her intention, is to get that dialogue going. And there are times where she would even openly, or maybe not so openly, admit that, yeah, maybe she could have handled a joke differently in terms of how the punchline, the timing, or different things to make it less threatening of a topic. But again, that was part of the job of humor, is to try to get those sensitive dialogues started. And that is never to be overlooked in terms of its importance. Now, it can act as a social lubricant, making it easier to initiate those conversations about subjects like mental health. And many other things, or social prejudices, by creating a shared sense of lightness and reducing defensiveness. And again, that is important. When a potentially difficult topic is approached with humor, it can lower the emotional intensity and make people feel less vulnerable. Opening the door for more honest and open dialogue that might not be possible in a purely serious setting. And, that is the facts of it. That is the way it is. And if you don't agree with it, that's fine. But if you sit back and look at it from a realistic perspective, it certainly does make sense now, doesn't it? Furthermore, the act of laughing together fosters a powerful sense of camaraderie and shared humanity, which can be particularly valuable when discussing potentially divisive or sensitive issues. Laughter is a universal human experience that transcends differences in backgrounds, beliefs, or opinions. And that is important. That is very important in today's day and age. Like, yeah, I just can't overstate how important it is. So when we look at it, people share a laugh. They create a shared positive experience that can build connections and foster empathy, making it easier to understand different perspectives or sensitive topics. The ability of humor to diffuse anger and conflict and to build bridges between people makes it an invaluable tool for navigating complex social interactions and fostering an understanding. That is why humor is often integrated into therapeutic settings when it can help to build rapport between the therapist and client and facilitate a healing process. Again, the medical, the physiological, the mental parts and benefits of comedy are never ending. Now, we know that comic relief, it can be as simple as finding joy in everyday chaos. And that is something we are familiar with these days, and that is chaos. Beyond its more profound roles, comedy serves as a fundamental purpose in providing a much-needed break from the stresses and challenges of everyday life. In a world that often feels overwhelming, comedy in its various forms, whether it's a favorite sitcom, a hilarious movie, or a night of the stand-up comedy club, offers moments of pure entertainment and escapism. Again, escapism. You're taking yourself from the high-pressure craziness of the world and you're escaping in that lived experience with others at a comedy club or through the, sitting down and watching just a funny program or movie and enjoying yourself. And that is so important. The simple act in itself of taking that mental break and allowing ourselves to laugh can be incredibly rejuvenating, providing a temporary respite from worries and allowing us to recharge our mental batteries. Again, so important. In an often overwhelming world, comedy provides a vital outlet for relaxation and mental rejuvenation, allowing individuals to temporarily forget their troubles and recharge. And just remember, it gets all undone if you listen to a country song. Moreover, a good sense of humor can significantly impact our overall outlook on life. The ability to find humor in the mundane and even the difficult aspects of life is a valuable coping mechanism. And that's something to teach your children as well, because it really is something that promotes resilience and a more positive perspective. Very important in everyday life. But it also helps us to maintain something to laugh about. Even in challenging situations, those challenges can often seem less daunting. This lightness of spirit can make it easier to navigate life's inevitable ups and downs and maintain a more optimistic view of the world. And who doesn't need that these days? Let's face the facts. We all need that ability to look at the world with a bit lighter of a lens these days. A world without laughter, I mean, it's not even something to joke about at the end of the day. Comedy plays a truly pivotal role in our world, far beyond just providing entertainment. It serves as a vital tool for maintaining our mental well-being, offering tangible, physiological, and psychological benefits through laughter. It empowers us to confront tough global issues, using satire and wit to spark critical thinking and encourage social change. Comedy acts as a bridge, and I said that earlier. I cannot emphasize it enough. It is a bridge between different belief systems, between different cultures, between even different social groups. And again, it can be a very powerful bridge. It's inviting dialogue on sensitive topics and fostering understanding and a connection between people. And we need those connections in a non-threatening, open way. And finally, it provides us with essential moments of levity and escapism, helping us to navigate the challenges of everyday life with laughter, light heart, and so much more, including a resilient spirit. So the next time you find yourself chuckling at a joke or sharing a laugh with someone, remember that you're not just having a good time, you're engaging in a fundamental human activity that keeps us healthy, connected, and perhaps a little bit saner in this wonderfully chaotic world. Thanks again for tuning in. This is James here with Live Chat with James on ProPix TV in Vancouver, British Columbia. Don't forget that you can email smile, S-M-I-L-E, at ProPix Canada, P-R-O-P-I-C-S Canada.com, and share your thoughts on this episode, and also suggest topics for future episodes, as we like to include you in the conversation. So again, make sure to join us for another session of Live Chat with James. And let me know if you would like me to do a Friday night special. I could do a stand-up comedy special here on the channel and do it live, but we can also refeed it later. And if you would like to see that, by all means, you can find some of my comedy. I go by the stage name of James, the Canadian Comedian Cousineau. You can find the Canadian Comedian content various places online. But again, if you would like me to do a fresh new stand-up comedy set on the live chat episodes, by all means, let me know. Leave your comments below, send an email, whatever the case is. Even if you're watching a rebroadcast, I do check the messages. I do check email frequently, but I do check the comment section. So again, feel free to leave your comments below, and thank you for tuning in. Once again, it's James Cousineau coming to you live from the ProPix TV studios in Vancouver, British Columbia. Thanks for watching, and stay safe out there, everyone. Don't forget to have a good laugh.